In the world of monarchy, tradition is never just tradition. It is hierarchy. It is privilege. It is power dressed in velvet and diamonds. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the royal jewels, the tiaras, necklaces, and brooches that do more than shimmer. They speak. And recently, they've been speaking louder than ever. Behind palace doors, the role of Queen Camilla has quietly expanded. No longer just consort, she is now the senior-most woman in the royal family. With that role comes influence over public appearances, ceremonial representation, and, increasingly, the royal collection of jewels. One change has stirred particular attention: tiaras. Historically, tiaras are lent from the royal vaults by the reigning monarch or their consort. They are not owned in the traditional sense. Even Princess Diana's famous Spencer tiara belonged to her family, not the crown. Most tiaras worn by royal women are held in trust, their use governed by royal discretion and unwritten protocol. The queen, or in this case, the queen consort, holds the authority to approve their use. Queen Elizabeth II, throughout her reign, was known for her discretion in sharing the royal collection. She allowed her daughters-in-law and granddaughters-in-law to wear tiaras on key occasions: weddings, state banquets, and diplomatic visits. The choices were symbolic. A tiara was not just jewelry. It was a gesture of inclusion, of trust, of status within the family. Now, under Queen Camilla's influence, there are whispers that those gestures may have changed. Some observers note that since Queen Elizabeth's passing, there has been a noticeable shift in which royal women wear tiaras, and when. While Camilla herself has debuted a series of tiaras not seen in public for decades, others in the family have appeared without them at events where they were once customary. It is here the speculation takes root. Reports, unconfirmed and largely whispered through commentary and soft coverage, suggest that Queen Camilla may have introduced a change, whether formal or not, in how the tiaras are distributed or approved for wear. Some claim she has reserved key pieces for her own use. Others suggest she is limiting access to certain jewels for those not serving as full-time working royals. And it is this speculation that has drawn in two familiar names: Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Both women have long been considered among the most dutiful and polished members of the monarchy. Catherine, with her poise and public popularity, has been a central figure in the monarchy's modern image. Sophie, often working quietly in the background, has emerged in recent years as a trusted senior royal, stepping up especially during times of crises. They have both worn tiaras before. Catherine wore the Cartier halo tiara on her wedding day, and later the lover's knot tiara, a favorite of Princess Diana's, at multiple state banquets. These were not simply accessories. They were signals of standing, of trust, of continuity. Which is why the suggestion that either woman might have been denied access to royal tiaras or relegated to lesser pieces has raised eyebrows and emotions. Some rumors, again unconfirmed, go so far as to claim that Catherine and Sophie were deeply upset by these changes, that a moment of perceived exclusion, perhaps at a state banquet, perhaps in preparation for a diplomatic event, left them in tears. Whether true or exaggerated, the image has captured public imagination. Two senior royal women, stalwarts of the monarchy's future, finding themselves constrained by a new order of power within the palace. But there is no official statement, no press release, no insider account with names and dates. That is how royal change often happens, not through proclamation, but through silence, through appearances, through absences. Observers have noted that during recent high-profile events, neither Catherine nor Sophie wore tiaras. Some of those events may not have called for it, but in royal circles, what is not worn can sometimes speak louder than what is. The question is not whether Camilla has banned tiaras. That would be an oversimplification. The question is whether she is reinterpreting the rules, consciously or not, to reflect a new hierarchy, one where access to the crown jewels is not just a matter of tradition, but of trust, proximity, and personal influence. This is not without precedent. Throughout royal history, consorts have wielded quiet power. Queen Mary, Queen Alexandra, and even Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, shaped court customs and aesthetics in their time. Camilla, now in her role as queen, may be doing the same. But in a modern monarchy, one trying to project unity and continuity, these internal shifts carry risk. Public sympathy lies heavily with Catherine, who has earned admiration for her grace under pressure, and with Sophie, whose quiet diligence contrasts sharply with past royal drama. If either has felt sidelined or overlooked, it risks creating an optics problem the palace would prefer to avoid. Even a perception of favoritism or exclusion can fuel controversy. And yet, perception is hard to control. A tiara is more than a crown of diamonds. It is history, inheritance, and favor, worn on the head for all to see. When those symbols shift, even slightly, people notice. Some say the tension is manufactured, that the emotional reactions are exaggerated or completely fabricated by sensational media, and they may be right. But the intensity of interest reveals something deeper. Royal jewelry, especially tiaras, connects the past to the present. They are worn by queens and brides, passed down through generations, photographed, analyzed, mythologized. When access to them changes, even slightly, it tells a story. Whether that story is of jealousy, tradition, or simple reorganization is up for interpretation. So what do we know? We know Queen Camilla now has greater influence over the royal jewelry vaults. We know that she has been wearing more tiaras than before, and that some rarely seen pieces have re-emerged. We know that Catherine and Sophie have not worn tiaras recently at publicized events where they once may have. What we don't know is why. We don't know if tears were shed or if new rules were written. We don't know if this is strategy, symbolism, or simply change. But in the court of public perception, appearances often become evidence, and the quiet movements of power are rarely ignored for long. So we ask, is this a natural evolution of royal roles, or a quiet reshuffling of influence under the guise of tradition? And if the whispers are true, if Catherine and Sophie felt genuinely hurt, what does that say about the internal dynamics of a monarchy already stretched by illness, transition, and modern scrutiny? We may never know for certain, but we'll be watching, and so will the world.